Hello and welcome to Isimio Staffing. Today we'll be talking about calculating pay and bill rates for shifts. We start at the Staffing Hub, which is the tab right here. And on the right hand side we have a payroll card, which leads us to all things payroll. I'll click this list button and choose rate cards. This takes me to a page with a list of rate cards that I can open and edit. In this demo we'll create a new rate card by clicking the new button on the top right corner. We start by giving our rate card a name. Rate cards have names because you can reuse them for multiple clients or projects. Depending on the business model, you may have only a few rate cards that you reuse again and again, or you may want to create new rate cards for each of your clients if their rates are more flexible. Cards are also split into two types, pay and bill. As the names suggest, pay cards determine pay rates and bill cards determine bill rates. This separation lets you set different rates on different levels of the shift. For instance, you could set pay rates for individual workers regardless of how much you charge the client. I'll create a new bill rate card and call it Preferred Customer Bill Rates. Then hit Save. This takes me to the rate card editor, where we have several sections. This top part lets me change the name and type of the rate card. I can also set the minimum amount of hours that I pay or bill for a shift. If I set this to 5 and someone worked a 3-hour shift, we will still bill the client as if it was a 5-hour shift. Next we have our rate card pages. A rate card page lets us create different rates according to criteria and has different properties to determine how that rate is calculated. We'll call this page Weekdays. There are several types of rate cards to choose from. Hourly is a variable rate which can change by the hour. If a shift started on Friday morning and I have different rates after a certain time on Friday, then each segment of the shift will be calculated by that time's individual rate. The persistent checkbox lets you stay within the rate card page and not move on to other pages once the criteria no longer applies to the segment. By start time takes the rate card from the shift's start time and does not change beyond that. Shift rates are single flat rate shifts no matter how long the shift was. We can also set overtime thresholds here on the right by either shift, calendar day or calendar week. Under the page properties, we have the criteria. This decides whether or not a shift will be calculated using the rates in this page. We have some standard options like day type, role, and AWR status. I'm going to choose weekdays. I can also set more specialized criteria by clicking the Add Criteria button. This lets me enable this page only for shifts that meet specific criteria. For example, the planned shift length is longer than 5 hours. I can also use criteria from the candidate, the role, place, or any other record that is related to the shift. Now for the good part. By clicking Add Rate, I can set the start and end time of each individual rate, as well as the standard and overtime amounts. So I'll create a rate from 6 o'clock to 12:30 for £15 and £20 overtime. Ideally, I'd also want to add a catch-all rate at the bottom with no times entered. Any shift segment that does not fall within any of the rates defined in the rate card will go into the catch-all. Each shift segment picks the rate from this list by looking at it from top to bottom. If two rates have overlapping hours, then the higher one will be selected. If you want a shift to stick to a lower rate, even after a higher rate starts, use the persistent toggle. When I'm done, I can click Save or add more pages to my card. I can have as many pages as I'd like, and similarly to rates, they are processed from left to right. Now that my rate card is saved, I'll want to attach it to something. I can attach rate cards to contracts, workers, or individual shifts. In this case, I'll open my client Edge Communications. And I'll find the contract that I have with them. This bill rate field lets me select the rate card that I use when I calculate the bill rates for shifts. I'll just change that to preferred customer bill rates and click Save. To run payroll, I go back to the Staffing Hub and press the big blue button to process changes. Once the process is finished, I can see the results in the charges list. We hope you enjoyed the video and have a great rest of the day.